we have literally tens of millions of people in the United States who are afraid that the cancel culture is coming for them. And cancel culture does exist. Okay, so what this results in very, very often is corporations looking to cram down a particular viewpoint on you and then cancel you. When it comes to the hosts on the Daily Wire, obviously everyone was able to say what they want. But the reality is that there is an Overton window at the Daily Wire. There are polls out there that show that a vast majority of Americans in every single political group, including liberals, feel like they cannot say what they want to say in public because they're afraid that they are going to be canceled, fired, cast out from polite society. This actually happened to a socialist moron named Nathan Robinson. He got canceled from The Guardian. And he said he got canceled from The Guardian because he had put up some anti-Israel tweet. Okay, now I think he's an idiot. I think that his views on Israel are abhorrent, but I don't think that he should lose his columnist slot over at The Guardian. That's a different story, obviously, when it comes to any publisher. Any publisher gets to make decisions about what it wishes to purvey and not. He certainly would not defend anybody on the other side who got canceled. In fact, he has repeatedly said cancel culture does not exist. Okay, it does exist. The fact that there are people out there who want you to lose your job for the sin of saying things they don't agree with is extraordinarily real, and it is happening on a moment-by-moment basis. You know, the Daily Wire is a publisher, not a platform. Publishers obviously have to decide what sort of things they wish to pay for the publication of, and when it comes to hosts and publishers, parting ways, obviously there'll be a non-meeting of the minds. That's pretty much all I can say on that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there was a non-meeting of the minds. That's pretty much all I can say on this.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters around the world, it's your boy Chris Shule, the esoteric, noetic, the chocolate Nubian soul brother from Ghana, West Africa, dropping the wisdomatic truth bombs here in Melbourne, Australia. Yeah, nah, mate, you can rely on me, because I'm on team. Say it with me. Meh. I'm a transvaxxite. I'm taking the magic potion. I do as I'm told, and I got these flimsy, hypocritical ethics where I'm all about freedom of speech, until you say something that I don't like, and then I want censorship. Which is the situation that our friend Ben Shapiro is at, which I'm going to get into. But before I do, I just want to let you all know that you guys can check out my new album. That's right. Yours truly is not just a disseminator of the wisdomatic truth bombs. I'm a singer. I got myself an album called POTUS. You can check out. Details are below. It's on the Spotify, it's on the iTunes, all of the digital platforms. It is a collection of pop, soulful, Afrobeat jams, speaking about powerful issues, motivational issues, and senoritas. But yeah, I would love it if you guys can check that out. Slide in the DMs, tell us what you think about it. Hit us up. Oh yeah, let's get it. Let's speak about what's going on in the world. It's been a minute since I dropped one of these videos. All right, so let's speak about Ben Shapiro, Mr. Facts Don't Care About Your Feelings. Now, first and foremost, yours truly, the chocolate Nubian soul brother, does not have a problem with censorship. Censorship in the realm of, I get to decide if you're in my space. I mean, first of all, I think I get to censor what I put in my body, right? If I don't want to eat something, not censoring that, get it out of my face. I don't want it. Have all this information coming to me. People send me videos. Sometimes people send me dick pics, and I'm like, bro, I'm censoring that shit. Get it out. Get out of here. I don't want to see that, right? In my house. If you're annoying me, get out of here. I find you annoying. I don't want to have to deal with this shit. Always trying to, show me your boobies and stuff. Actually, don't mind that. But you get the idea. I get to choose what I want in my own space. Similarly, I would extend that to what I want on my platform. I have this group, and sometimes people share shit that I find really annoying, right? This advertising shit. Oh, they just say things that I think are stupid, Got some people who want to talk about flat earth. I'm like, get out of here, man. This is not the Momo podcast. So I'm like, hey, look, bro, seriously, I don't want to talk about this shit here. Absolutely, you have a right to censor what you want. If I have a business and I don't want people to be talking about things that I don't approve of, I got to censor it. Classically speaking, we have an issue, though, when the government tries to do, when the government tries to force people to say what they not be able to speak what they want, right? We all censor in our lives. We all do this. Now, some of us are very, very open and honest about it, like yours truly. However, respect the right of people to say whatever they want within their own space, and do not believe in the government being able to do so. And certainly don't make this Momo argument that I've been seeing raise its head time and time again, particularly as of late, that we are now in this new era where corporations have so much power that, freedom of speech needs to be extended to big corporations like X, formerly known as Twitter, not being able to censor people. No, it's a corporation. If Elon Musk wants to censor people, he has every right to do that. Okay? That's just being consistent, regardless of how I feel about it. If he wants to take me off of his platform because he's insecure and feels that my chocolate schlong is too big, he has every right to do so. That being said, I love Elon. I think he's doing a great job. But the issue here with Ben Shapiro, at least, is that he's caught with his pants down, right? This guy looks like a hypocrite because he's been this champion of freedom of speech, often criticizing people for businesses for taking people off of the platform or firing them because they've said things that organization finds disagreeable. He's often said that, look, he may completely hate what people say about Israel, at least on one hand, it seems. However, he respects their right to say it within the organization, right? Clearly, that's not the case. You see, this is the problem, not just with Ben Shapiro. This is not about him. This is about the country at large, the world at large. I would say most people, be they the conservatives or the progressives, have this mentality when it comes to censorship and when it comes to, I would say, politics in general, where they're very pro-freedom, pro-human rights, pro-unalienable rights, which is what the United States was classically all about, until we're touching on an issue that they get scared, they get nervous around, or they just, yeah, in general, whether it's freedom of speech or whether it hits a nerve. In Ben Shapiro's case, it's obviously Israel. Well, you can say what you want, but if you speak negatively about Israel, well, you can't be doing that, right? Or with my leftist friends, it's cool, right? Until you say that you have a right to choose what you put in your body and you don't want to get a magic potion, right? Then they're all up in this frenzy and they think you should be forced to do that. That there should be all these mandates in place where the government is able to coerce you to do something, right? And with my conservative friends, they're not excluded from this either. They're often advocating for, they're supposed to be the champions of freedom, right? But they're willing to use just a sprinkle of government force, right, in order to ensure that, well, we don't have drugs running amok, and so we got to punish people for taking drugs, or we want to restrict people from being able to choose what they do with their body. Well, we're pro-life, you're killing someone. Well, it's their own body. They get to decide what they do with it. And this is the problem. People don't want to be consistent across the board. And I find that with this particular censorship issue, we are seeing that time and time again. It is exposing itself in clear view for everyone to see. The people, a lot of my conservative friends I'm seeing at the moment, that are very pro freedom of speech when it comes to Israel. And look, once again, they have every right to censor people if it's their platform. But it seems, and look, I don't know of people, many figures in the public space that have been calling for the government to censor people on the conservative side. On the conservative side, I don't believe they have been openly using the government or advocating for the government censoring people saying things about Israel and so forth. But it's very clear that they're coming across as hypocritical because people like Ben Shapiro, whereas they haven't been advocating for the government censoring people from saying this kind of stuff, they have wanted to censor these people from their platforms and so forth, which once again, I don't have a problem with, but you just got to be consistent across the board because in all honesty, we are all in favor of censorship on some level within our own space. I get to choose what I put in my body. I get to choose what people are within my space or on my platform, right? Or if I have a company, what I allow within my company. We're just against the government doing it. But let's be consistent across the board here. Let's not be making this Momo argument that we're completely against any form of censorship, right? Until we're caught up in a situation where someone's saying something that we don't like, and then we are making these hypocritical arguments that they should be censored, like Ben Shapiro here. It is very difficult to be inundated with things that you're uncomfortable with. I've noticed this time and time again, particularly as of late, over the last few years, the amount of conversations I've had, I'm sure you may have had this yourself, where people are saying, I don't want to hear about this. I had a friend of mine, a longtime friend that caught up, about a year or so ago, and he told me that, look, some people don't want to know these things, don't want to know about what's going on. Speaking about. And my idea, well, yeah, but if it's something that is so detrimental to the fabric of society, and it is affecting me, well, granted, you don't have to listen to this kind of stuff, but it's difficult for me because I feel like I can't be real with you. And I had to make this hard decision because, on one hand, this guy was saying, well, look, I know what's going on, but I don't want to hear I want to talk about this. Well, I kind of felt the need to because, it's not as if I was bringing this shit up all the time. It's just that I'd be saying things indirectly that this guy would have an issue with. And as a result, he wanted to censor me, which once again, he had every right to do. But the problem is, as a result, we really couldn't hang out. And it's very difficult in this space in the 21st century to be around people that are so opposed to hearing the truth because we're just on different wavelengths, right? To have an inner circle, your inner circle needs to be on the same page with you. You need to have a certain level of transparency with people. And because we're in this age where I feel a lot of people don't want to be transparent about what's going on, they don't want to talk about these difficult issues. It's like we're always walking around eggshells. In order for me to be around people, to have an inner circle, I need to be free to be able to share what is on my mind. And I'm a deep thinking brother. I am an Aquarian, ladies and gentlemen, in every sense of the word. I am constantly thinking, having deep thoughts. I am very against the standard uh, narratives that are often spoken about, and I am very informed on a myriad of topics. And I love speaking about this kind of stuff. Sometimes it's just an exercise. It's fun. But when people don't want to speak about these topics because either they're too ignorant and they find it very confronting to speak about things they don't want to speak about, or it hurts them, it's very difficult to have this this cohesive, this congruence with them. And this is something that I'm finding. My inner circle over the last few years is becoming smaller and smaller because, whereas I censor people, obviously people want to censor me as well. But the distinction is, whereas I am open to having these conversations because I think they force you to grow, a lot of people aren't. That being said, it is a difficult world that we are in because even though we are inundated in this age where there is so much information, we are inundated with different perspectives from the interwebs. There's obviously the legacy media, and there's the internet and so forth. There are very different takes on what is going on. And sometimes I'll be on one platform and then another platform, I'm like, what is going on here? It's like they're completely different worlds. I'll spend some time with my inner circle of people in the interwebs and realize that they have a completely different understanding of what's going on so many different topics. And then I'll watch some mainstream news and I'm like, what is going on here? It's like you guys have a completely different perspective, and you realize there's this massive disconnect. And then when you finally come into each other's worlds, it's very difficult to maintain this congruence because you're just not on the same page. And as a result, what people opt for, I find, is they want to censor people. They're like, hey, look, I don't want to be exposed to this information. It's crazy. It's nutty, right? And look, I do it too. But the thing is, I'm open and honest about it. But I also try to live in a big world. I'm exposed to information from in all realms. I hang out with my scientifically skeptical-minded friends, and I also hang out with the freaks, the misfits, that delve into these rabbit holes, exploring these weird perspectives in regards to this Euclidean meat space. I have gone as deep as it gets, ladies and gentlemen. And as a result, I'm not opposed to learning, but I that being said, I try to refrain from judgment, but I don't want to be so open to everything that I end up getting an open infection and I'm just inundated with complete rubbish. So I also censor. There are certain topics that have been so pertinent to the world that have been discussed that we dealt with over the last few years that I feel, unless of course people have the right stance on this topic, it's very difficult to hang out with them, let alone support them in any kind of political capacity. And if we have a look at the 2024 POTUS, you have a look at the candidates, I was feeling very inspired by some of the candidates for some time, particularly Vivek. Felt like he was saying all the right stuff, highly intelligent, highly charismatic. And this is a common thing you see. These people are often saying the right kind of stuff. They talk the talk. But I also got the impression that he had a lot of integrity. And unlike some of these other candidates in the past, didn't have this track record of being in politics, so you can gain an understanding of what he stood for and so forth. Just had to base it off of I guess, what he'd accomplished in business. This is for Vivek. And obviously, the guy had a tremendous success in the realm of biotech, highly perspicacious, a lawyer, a philosopher in my mind, and also a business person, all the prerequisites necessary to be an effective leader, and was saying the right kind of stuff, had the right kind of philosophical underpinnings in regards to his politics, which I very much respected. Very libertarian leaning, or very libertarian, I would say. Uh, that being said, the one issue that I found, and this is the issue that I find was the deciding factor that made it very difficult for me to be on par with him. And I only just became more aware of this recently, was his stance on the Israel-Palestine situation, which it seems a lot of the political candidates are very much pro. So whether it's Donald Trump, whether it's Vivek, whether it's DeSantis, whether it's Joe Biden, they all seem to be in favor of more war, more of supplying Israel with weapons to take out Hamas, which is, let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, code for we're going to continue dropping bombs in the homes of these Palestinian people. Many children, many innocents die as a result of it. And I'm one of these people, once again, that wants to be consistent across the board. And because they had the right stance in so many issues, I found, at least with Vivek, was very much in line with freedom, not wanting to mandate, the magic potions. Same applies to Robert Kennedy, who I very much love, by the way. I just love his personality, his congruence. Very much, I find he's an extremely honest person. But that being said, the most concerning thing for me is his position on Israel. And this has been a topic that has brought me a lot of frustration, because don't you find you're often in this situation where you respect so many of the positions that people have, whether it's in politics, whether it's with these candidates or with your friends, and then you find out just one little thing that makes it so difficult for you to show your favor towards them on. And I think part of being a good human, or not, let me rephrase that, part of being a matured adult is learning that you do not have to accept every argument that is brought to you, or accept the position that every person has. You can still accept someone as a whole, even though you disagree with them on a myriad of topics. And I'm all in favor of that. I have friends across the board that I very much do love and admire. However, we don't agree on a lot of topics, but there are certain key issues that are so pivotal, because it has to do with, I mean, if someone is advocating for some kind of violence, right, it's choosing a lesser two evils. When it comes to these political candidates, the idea of supporting someone that is, on one hand, going to do a lot of good, but is also going to do bad, is also going to, like with Robert Kennedy, he's openly said, now I don't think this applies to Vivek, but I know it applies to Donald Trump, and many of these candidates, has openly said that they're going to be supporting Israel militarily and financially in dropping bombs on Palestine. I take issue with that. And it's one thing to entertain someone even though you disagree with the views, but if you're going to be supporting someone through your vote in doing something that you think is morally reprehensible, then I take issue with that. And I'm not one of these people that says that voting is violence. Depends what you're voting for. If you're voting for someone going to dismantle an organization like the government, completely in favor of that, or you're voting for someone because you think they'd be an effective leader, it's very different. But it comes down to what you're voting for. If you're electing someone knowing full well that they are going to advocate for something that is evil, well, something that you think is wrong, that's an issue. That's when you're choosing a lesser two evils. So it comes down to what you view voting as in of itself. But this is the situation that I find myself in with many of the political candidates that are at play. That more often than not, it's a situation where you're voting between the lesser of evils. And when it comes to friendships, when it comes to having an inner circle, whereas I don't think it's as clear cut as that, because just because you're friends with someone, you're associating with someone, doesn't mean you're supporting what they're doing. But sometimes for your own personal sanity, and also just for your own evolution, it's better to not entertain people that are not on the same mission as you. As a result, we tend to be very selective of who we spend time with. And whereas I try to live in a big world, I have like circles. I have an inner circle, then I have an outer circle. On my outer circle, I'm this silly, crazy person that likes to entertain people, serenade the senoritas, and be as funny and as ridiculous as I can be. But on another level, my inner circle, I do enjoy having conversations with people where I can be real, and it's very difficult to do that in a world where people are so opposed to speaking about certain topics and have such a rudimentary understanding of the world. And I think a lot of this stuff definitely comes down to awareness, but also a lot of it comes down to just philosophical outlooks, morality. A lot of people tend to have a worldview that does not respect individual sovereignty, and as a result, it can be very difficult to run with these people. Anyway, these are just some of the topics I wanted to speak about that are going on in the world right now. But first and foremost, I think we have to try to be more consistent when it comes to freedom of speech, to realize that freedom of speech is all about believing that you have a right to speak what you want and not advocating for the government in censoring your speech. And you can be pro-freedom of speech and pro-censorship within your own capacity, censoring what you take within yourself, censoring what you want within your own home, within your own platform, but you cannot censor other people. See, this is where people get this shit twisted. They think because they are pro-freedom of speech that they can't censor their own lives. I don't have to have you in my life, but I do have to respect your ability to regulate your own life. And I can't be getting other people to interfere. The problem, though, is that often people just don't have the same energy with this kind of stuff. They're very dishonest about what they actually feel. And I, for one, I will censor the hell out of you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to play around. If you're someone that is being a momo, I'll cut you out. If everyone knows this about me, you know, I think I am a very tolerant person, but I will go from 0 to 1,000 just like that. If you do something more than once and it's something that I'm just not accustomed to, I value my own health, my own growth first and foremost. You need to be able to be full within yourself. Your cup needs to be full before you can be overpouring, being able to help other people. And you do that by regulating your mind, regulating what you expose yourself to. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think. Drop us some comments. Give this video a like. Tell your mom, tell your friends about me. And be sure to check out my album, Apotheosis. Oh, you're going to be in for a treat. Until next time, I got some podcasts lined up. I'm going to start bringing out the guests again. Let me know if there is someone that you think would be worthwhile getting here on the podcast. I'm trying to get some well-known activists, freedom lovers up in here, but I'm also not opposed to having conversations with the people on the completely different side of the political spectrum, provided it's worthwhile. Until next time, kisses, hugs, belly rubs, signing out. Remember, there are 3 things that cannot remain hidden for long: the sun, the moon, and the wisdomatic truth bombs of the chocolate Nubian soul brother. Peace!
I don't even care, there is only